What if I told you that sometimes the most powerful military decisions in the world are not made on battlefields, but inside private rooms where almost nobody is watching? What if the person placed in charge of a global military force isn't always the one with the longest combat record, but the one with the strongest connections? Welcome back. I am Captain Rumor, and on this channel we don't just follow headlines. We track the hidden movements of global power, the quiet appointments, the strategic networks, and the decisions that shape the future before the world even realizes what's happening. Tonight's briefing takes us deep into a story where politics, influence, defense leadership, and sealed documents unexpectedly intersect, and where a single appointment raised questions that reached far beyond Washington. Now, let's begin. Under the United States Constitution, the military operates under civilian control. That means leadership positions overseeing branches of the armed forces are not always filled by career military officers, but usually the individuals appointed still have strong backgrounds in defense, security, or national strategy. However, one appointment created immediate discussion across political and defense circles. A financial executive and well-known art collector, John Phelan, was selected to lead the United States Navy, despite having no publicly known military service background or prior operational connection to naval institutions. The decision surprised analysts not because civilians cannot lead the military. That is normal, but because appointments at this level usually involve individuals deeply embedded in defense policy, military logistics, or strategic planning environments. Observers began asking a simple question: what strategic calculation sits behind leadership selections that appear unconventional on the surface? And that question is where this story truly begins. In global power systems, leadership appointments often reflect more than professional resumes. They frequently reveal networks of influence, financial, political, institutional, and strategic, that operate quietly behind official announcements. John Phelan was widely known in finance and high-value art investment circles, hosting high-profile fundraising events and interacting with elite donor networks connected to major political campaigns. These networks play a significant role in shaping access, relationships, and long-term political alliances. When analysts study defense leadership transitions, they often look beyond qualifications alone and examine the ecosystem surrounding an appointee. Who supported them? Which networks connect them to policymakers? And what strategic trust relationships made the appointment possible? Because in modern geopolitics, power rarely moves randomly. It moves through established corridors of influence. Public attention intensified when previously released investigative files related to Jeffrey Epstein resurfaced in political discussion cycles. Among the many documents examined by journalists and lawmakers were historical travel records and flight manifests connected to Epstein's private aviation network. Some reports indicated that the name of the Navy leadership appointee appeared on certain historical flight records, prompting renewed media questions about the broader social and financial networks that existed among elite business figures during earlier decades. Importantly, appearing in historical contact records or travel documents does not by itself imply criminal activity. And officials emphasized that no formal allegations were announced related to those entries. However, the disclosure triggered congressional interest in reviewing how certain records had been redacted and how transparency decisions were being handled in the release of archival investigative material. The issue quickly evolved from a personal network story into a government transparency debate. This situation highlights a broader strategic reality. Modern governance is influenced not only by elections or military strength, but also by elite relationship systems that operate across finance, law, politics, and international investment circles. When leadership roles intersect with previously documented global networks, analysts begin examining the potential long-term implications for policymaking trust, institutional credibility, and defense oversight structures. History shows that many major geopolitical shifts were preceded not by dramatic public announcements, but by quiet leadership transitions that signaled deeper structural alignments happening behind the scenes. And this is why defense appointments, financial influence networks, and historical investigative records often become interconnected topics, even years after the original events occurred. Because power systems remember everything, even when the public moves on. As lawmakers continue reviewing document releases and investigative archives, the debate surrounding transparency, historical associations, and leadership accountability is likely to remain active. For global observers, the key lesson is not about one individual alone. It is about understanding how influence ecosystems operate at the highest levels of governance. Decisions involving defense leadership, intelligence oversight, and national security rarely exist in isolation. They are part of a much larger framework where relationships, access, financial alliances, and institutional trust intersect. And when those intersections become visible, even briefly, they offer a rare glimpse into how modern power actually functions. I am Captain Rumor, and on this channel we track the quiet shifts behind global authority. The leadership changes, the influence corridors, and the strategic moves that shape tomorrow's world long before the headlines fully explain them. Stay sharp.